I'll go ahead and call Education Committee meeting to order. We do have a set of minutes for January the 11th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any comments or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And I'll turn it over to the school people.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started with budget minutes.
First one is 2024-06. This is this small.
Her question,
Sorry about that.
Can you make it a little smaller?
We need,
Save more paper.
Might need some magnifying glasses here.
What are y'all talking about? I can read just fine.
Get a
Let
few
people
more
borrow
years
my
on.
reading glasses
Get a
here.
few more years on you, young
I
man.
hear you.
Yeah, you just wait.
Don't hate.
All right.
First section, we're moving balance of a maintenance position that has not been used to transportation for a mechanic. We're needing a mechanic position, so that's the remainder of what it will cost for the rest of the year. The second, we received donations for our Family Resource Center, so that's increasing the revenues and the expenses that those will come out of. The next one, we have math night donations. It's a night that they do a lot of math initiatives, math, get together with the kids, and a lot of STEM activities. So we had donations received for that. The next one is we received growth funds from TISA, our student growth. And we're using those funds for SPED contracts with private agencies, where we're having to contract out on a lot of our positions that we cannot hire for. And then the remaining money is transferred to our insurance fund to help fund those insurance costs. And then the last one is for our Kids Club and TLC. That's renovations that they're doing. We're moving that money from fund balance to do those improvements that need to be done there in some of our buildings at Southside and Mount Juliet Annex.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And the next one is 2024-07. This was outcome funding we received. And so with that, we did a 2% raise for all our employees and retro back to January. So this is all of the line items that were hit because of that raise. So that's what this is for, the 2% raise from the outcome funding.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? I'm sorry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Now, my report, just busy part of the year, spending a lot of time in legislation. Their General Assembly's in 211 bills that are directly tied to education sitting down there that we're monitoring. Not all of them are in education, there's some others in funding, so we're monitoring that, trying to work through that. The big one that you're hearing a lot about is the voucher bill. I have chosen not to do a resolution. I want to see the language. We do know enough about it that we have some concerns. I have a lot of concerns with it. But I do think there's a process that we need to see the language. If that language is not dropped in a bill, there's a caption bill sitting down there. I will be making a recommendation to my board for resolution based on 3 facts that we know. We know enough because they have said this is what it's going to be. And I'm going to focus on 3 things. Number 1, funding. It should be equal. State dollars, if they want to pass the voucher plan, it should be equal funding. And currently, it's my understanding it will not be. You're hearing a lot that we're not going to lose any money. But if we lose 1,000 kids, or if we lose 500 kids, wherever they go, whether they go out of, to another public school, homeschool, or to a private school, we don't get that TISA funding. And I'm hearing a lot, and you know, we're being told you're not gonna lose any money because it's coming out of a separate pot of money. But I wanna point this out to county commission, because this is where I think it impacts you down the road. Right now, TISA funding, when we went to that model, that was based upon per student funding. And I will tell you, there's been some benefits to it. I'll be the first one to tell you that. I get that. And this is not about choice with me. I believe in choice. I don't think any kid should be in a failing school anywhere. I think we should be working collectively together to ensure that does not happen. But that, when we went to an individual funding model, which we're under TISA, there's a number, 6,800 and
68, around 50, 6,850.
$6,850. That includes your 30%. 30% of that is local taxes. So if you take that 30% off, compare it to a voucher that's $7,050 of state dollars, that's not equal funding. And that's, I'm focusing on that a lot. Second thing is I'm gonna focus on accountability. I do not understand how you take public dollars, send them to privatized agencies, and don't have accountability. I don't know how that, I don't know how you even introduce that. I'm big on accountability. Now, I think that there will be some give and take, and that can happen. But our teachers and our school systems have been under enough in the past 10 years on accountability. If you're gonna take money and let the kid go somewhere else, whoever takes that money should have accountability also. And I can't get around that. That's what I believe in. And then the other thing, I think you have to accept all students with tax dollars.
Yep.
I just, in our Constitution and what we believe in public education, that we take every kid that walks in that door. And I don't see how you say you're gonna divide that up. And again, it's not about choice. I respect choice. And so that's what I'm gonna focus on, that I know what I'm gonna focus on, because that's what I believe in as a leader, an educational leader. And I do wanna see the language. Now, I'm being told that there's a lot of give and take going on. They're gonna infuse some more money to try to take care of some things. I've heard a lot of things that could be, I don't know. So we stand to gain something, I guess, but my question is, why are we bartering over education? I don't understand that concept either. So, but I will not bring a resolution to my board until I see the language, unless it's not there in April, because I know what's gonna happen. And I've seen this before, you know, and I'm being told, well, we've not seen the language. Well, you know enough to talk about it and release it.
You know how it works.
So,
Right.
and I know what could happen. They can come in there late on the caption bill, and boom, it's over and done with. And I do think that the county commission needs to look at it too, because on the TISA formula, you know the sheet that we get, you're paying above what's required. That's your maintenance of effort. You're tied under state law to that. But somewhere down the road, if we're gonna lose state dollars, they're gonna expect you to kick it in.
Right.
And I think we've gotta have those discussions. And I know those are hard discussions. But I think you wanted an update on the vouchers. I've been studying this for longer than I should have. And I keep going back to the same thing on three things.
Jeff, there's already quite a few school systems and county
They have.
commissions that have already passed resolutions
They have.
opposing this.
They-
So, probably half.
And I know another bill that is sitting down there too, that I'm watching, and I think we are watching this, and our organizations are watching, because it probably impacts you more, but where they saying there's a cap to taxation. Have y'all seen that bill?
Right.
Uh,
You know, they're talking about capping, the ability for property taxes. The number out there is 2%. Whether or not that's actually what's going to be proposed or not, but it's coming through caption again. So again, details are not coming out. I know. I talked to Commissioner Costley this week, and I believe he's going to do legislative ad hoc meeting next Thursday. Is that
I think
right?
that's just one that bears watching.
So-
But
But we may discuss it from a commission standpoint at legislative ad hoc.
And I'm
Kevin
sure
chairs.
when we get the language, there'll be more. What we've been told on this voucher bill, the first year, it is, they are talking now, but they are talking a finance cap, which that should have been there to begin with. But it will only be 20,000. But in year 2, it goes statewide. Now, and I understand how shifts work. I can't sit here and tell you, I mean, I'll put our public schools up against anybody. I don't think we're gonna lose a mass exodus, but as an educational leader, you've gotta look 5 or 6, 7, 8 years down the road. And I'm telling you, the no accountability is really hard to take as a public educator. When I mean, man. And the acceptance of all students. Until you do that, you're not comparing apples to apples. And so that's where I'm at. If we get the language, but do expect me to bring to my board a resolution. And I've not discussed this like my board. I'm telling you, it's Jeff Luttrell, Director of Wilson County Schools. I'm not having back, they may vote it down. I'll still feel the opposite, and that's okay. But I'm pretty passionate about what we're doing in public education. And what everybody needs to understand, if I get in a situation where I'm facing a budget crunch, I'm gonna have to go look at programs that are what have made Wilson County Schools. That's our CTE programs. That's our course. You know, we had Lebanon High School was packed out of the night. Honors band. I don't know if any of you were there. Absolutely phenomenal. Of all of our students around the county. Our ag programs, our business programs, our culinary, that we as a county for over the years have said, this is the opportunities we want our students to have. If you get in a budget crunch, 2,000 students, $14 million, roughly. You can't cover that. We would have to start cutting opportunities for students. And I'm against that, and will be against that, regardless of what happens. Now, I am smart enough to know there'll be a lot of maneuvering, political maneuvering. And we'll be at the table for that too. But I will be bringing a resolution. Wes Wilson update, switching
Can we go
gear.
back to that just for a second?
Sure.
When do you expect to try to take it before the board as far as for the school system?
The latest in April board meeting.
So
Is it?
would it be worth
When-
listening?
Do I,
Would it be worth us going ahead and doing something?
well,
I mean,
we
don't
still,
get-
we still have March, but I just wanna make sure we get it out and I'm sure.
I'm sorry. I could have it ready to go in March too. If it don't drop next week, I'll have it in March.
I just wanna make
I'm
sure that
sorry. You're
we're
right.
able to support it early enough that everybody knows, especially if we get the entire state on board,
Well,
all the different counties.
it's a hot topic, and this is a national topic, and I want to go into the research. I've been looking at this 30 years. I don't think it's the best way to handle our educational issues. And none of it's perfect. But where it's worked out, the money just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger with no major difference in results. And I can say that confidently. I've looked enough real research to say that.
Are you looking also doing some type of public education information to go along with all this at the same time, or you just trying to look at everything and see the
I looked at
language first?
everything. I want to see the language. I mean, I think our representatives, that's the way government's supposed to work. We need to see what the bill says, because that's.
I agree
that's
with
what
that,
you
I'm
go
just
with.
saying,
Yeah,
'cause
I don't
it's-
want to overreact. I'm reacting to what I know has been said is going to be a part of it. And then when you really get to language, you can start, this is how,
Right.
because you need to know how it's going to impact you.
Right.
I mean, I don't think we can afford to operate 2 or 3 different educational systems. If we can, we wouldn't be in the bottom third in the country in funding. And that's where we're at, per pupil. I mean, if we're sitting on that much money, Wilson County needs some roads. I mean, and I think those are hard conversations, but we need to be having those conversations, even as a county. And let me say, this county commission you know, there's some, we are blessed, and y'all have been tremendous in funding our schools. I don't wanna see y'all have to take the brunt of, if you have to go away
Right.
from what we've done
Right.
over this issue. Any other questions on that? West Wilson update, they're making progress. Still, and I've got a meeting next week. Still some issues with, as we project, of getting bleachers and seating for auditorium. And the one thing I've learned, I will say this, one thing I've learned, you don't wanna move into a building until it's ready. And so we will not be doing that. I still don't have a date, but what I'm hearing, and I can't move in the middle of testing. I won't put that on our principals and teachers and kids and parents. And they're well within, they're not gonna be over on they're gonna be way ahead of contracted time. I really wanted it the last 9 weeks. I can't sit here and tell you I think that's gonna happen at this point, but I will know more for sure next week. Any questions on that? I do wanna mention this too, Mayor mentioned it, the other day at a meeting. FEMA, we feel comfortable, we've been obligated, 19 million? What we said, 19 has been obligated that we know is coming your way. We have looking at, there's a potential of some more, to the tune of maybe 14 million, but that's not been obligated. But I know, and y'all can help me out, we feel comfortable that we will be getting 19 million off FEMA.
Nice.
And there's been a lot of people, Mr. Fall, thank you, I know you made a phone call or two. It's been a lot of work to get to this point, but we do know. Now, when's that money drop, that's what everybody, I don't know. But we've done the paperwork to secure it for 19 and still looking more. But I feel comfortable in saying you're gonna get 19 million. Any questions on that? That's all I've got, that's my report.
Okay, for other business, the two topics that I got phone calls on the last couple of weeks was the Scholarship Act, and that was one thing. But the other thing is, do you have any information about the Lebanon Road 70 project in front of West Elementary School?
You know, we were at that meeting last year, there is plans for something to go on, and the mayor probably answered this better than me. That's gonna be widened out there in front of West Elementary. Now, the extension part of it, I don't know, and the time frame, I don't know.
At the meeting that you and I went to, I thought they'd already start doing something by now, but they haven't. I didn't know if they'd said anything to you or not.
They have,
Okay.
other than that,
Maybe the mayor, I know.
yeah.
Okay, is there any other business that needs to come up at this time?
We had 2 middle school basketball teams, both Mount Juliet, who went to state this last weekend. So our Mount Juliet boys, middle school placed 4th in the state, and Mount Juliet girls placed 2nd.
Did.
So I've
And you had
been,
Watertown Middle School girls in the James Hale tournament, won it all, played up a division. It's not, they're
That's
not
good.
in the
Yeah.
TMSA, but quite an accomplishment for them too.
that's fantastic, so.
And we've got, of course, you've got sports going on, you've got district ball, basketball, and at the same time, you started spring sports with practice. It is, our campuses are getting ready to be wide open.
There's a lot going on, so yeah, so,
12 weeks.
well, I was requested to do honorary resolutions for Mount Juliet Middle School, both boys and girls, so that'll be on the agenda for February. So I'd love for everybody to sign on to those two.
Anything else? Anything from the gallery?
Do we need to accept the director's report? Yeah. I make a motion to accept the director's report.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One other.
Motion to adjourn, second.
All right.
All right.